Hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to the Girls Night In podcast. And I'm here with my special guest on tonight, Christine Wilson. I am Lisa L. Yomis, the founder of Girls Night In, and we are here to help you to gain insight that will inspire you, inform you, innovate you, and increase you. So, again, I want to thank you for those that are joining me live. If you have any comments or questions, you can put those in the comment section below, chime in on the conversation. As a matter of fact, just go ahead and let us know where you are joining us from. And to all my replay viewers and my podcasters, thank you for listening in and joining in. Continue to comment and continue to share the broadcast out. Again, we are here tonight with my special guest, Christine Wilson. She is a life coach, an author, and a motivational speaker. So, Christine, thank you for joining me here tonight on the Girls Night In podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Now, before we get started, is there anything you wanted to add? Anything else we need to know about you before we get into our conversation?
I'm just a girl that love God with all my heart, and I love to share and encourage and motivate everybody who God placed in my way.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to get into what we are here to speak about on tonight. And our phrase for tonight is be ye transformed. And Christine, when I thought about this phrase, I've been stalking you on Facebook and I've been seeing your journey of actual transformation. Thank you for joining, Mama McCory. Thank you so much for joining and supporting. I've been looking at your journey on transformation. You are going through your transformational phase, and I want you to talk a little bit more about that. And also within your coaching, within you writing your book and your motivational speaking, you're also transforming the lives of others. So we're going
Absolutely.
to talk about that on tonight. And we know the phrase "be ye transformed" really comes from the Bible.
Right.
Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And we're just really going to start there with the be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. I just want you to do, as we open up for you, how much or how important it is for our minds to be transformed before we can actually see the transformation in our physical lives or spiritually or wherever it is we're trying to get that transformation. How important or what roles that the mindset plays in that?
The mindset plays a very important part because this for myself, it had I had to get my mind focused and before I can even make up in my mind to even be true to myself. And for myself, going back to be ye transformed, I've been struggling. I've been struggling with weight loss for the past 10 years, and
Mhm.
I've been going back and forth with doing different things. And I would get motivated, get uninspired, get motivated, get uninspired. And I remember praying, God, I need you to transform my mind. God, I need you to transform my body. I need you to transform everything about me because everything in my life was out of whack. My health was giving me a lot of issues. I was having so much problems, and not only I was having problems, but I wasn't even being able to use to be able to function a way that I fully should function because everything in my body was out of whack. And the first thing I had to do is renew my mind, and I had to begin to encourage myself first by the word of God with scriptures. And after I renewed my mind and encouraged myself, then I had to begin to tell myself that, you know what, Christine, I will live and not die. I will declare the work of the Lord in the land of the living, and everything about my life, it will be acceptable to God. And I began to do affirmations, and I mean, because all those things help you in the transformation. Because before I see results, I had to deal with the inner me. Before anything about transformation started to happen, it had to happen within me, within myself first. I had to believe in myself enough that I can do it. And not only did I had to believe in myself, but I also had to be my biggest cheerleader. I had to first go back to loving myself and liking myself first, and loving myself and respecting myself. And then once I was able to get all those areas right, then the transformation happened. Because what a lot of people don't know about this journey is I actually paid for 6 weeks of a fat loss camp and never went and worked out not one day.
Wait, hold up, Christy. You paid for the camp, like paid
Yes,
in full
I paid full price for 6 weeks
for six
and
weeks, and
never
you
went.
never showed up. Okay,
Never
so
showed up a day in my life. All I did is follow the plan of the eating, but I did not go and work out the
you
first
didn't.
6 weeks.
So you did not go and work out. Do you know why that was? That you would just do the work at home, like following the plan, the eating plan. But what was it that caused you not to actually show up?
Situations, struggles. It was because first I had an outbreak with COVID at my school. So when
Mm-hmm.
that outbreak happened, for 2 weeks I had to quarantine. So I couldn't work out. And then after that, we had a family trip planned to go to my aunt. So then I went up there. So that was another 3 weeks. The program was only 6 weeks. So then
Oh, okay.
after all of that, I still was following the plan. But then when I came back, I wasn't motivated enough to go to the gym. I was like, no. But even in the midst of that, God was still working it out. And I said that to say this. I'm a strong believer is what when you commit to something, even though I didn't physically go and work out those first 6 weeks, what I did for myself is I said, you know what, I'm ready for change. I
Mhm.
started changing the way I ate. And I was renewing my mind all at the same time, because when you're eating things that you're not used to eating, that's a big part as well. It
Yeah,
plays a big part,
yeah.
because your stomach is saying you want this, but you're actually putting something else in.
Okay.
So that was a battle within itself. So after those 6 weeks happened, I would never forget that seventh week. I showed up in the gym and everybody started clapping. And they said, "This is the girl that paid 6 weeks and never came one day." And you know what? I said, "But you know what? I'm ready now."
Yeah,
So now
but
my eating habits had already was in line.
yes.
Then I started working out. And then what happened? For 2 weeks later, I actually started seeing results. I started seeing the scale go down. I started seeing my clothes get too big. I started seeing that, oh my God, Christina, even though I've been saying I want to quit every time I start, I see that right after I get off work, I'm going straight back,
Going straight to
going straight to the gym.
Okay,
Because
so
why? I
Christine,
renewed my mind.
okay, Christine, I don't want to cut you off. So you go straight to the gym. So those that are hearing and listening to this, watching me live, we coming on the replay, she actually just left the gym.
I did.
Yeah, she left the gym, got in her car to
Yes,
sit down with me to do this interview. But I
yes,
wanted to go back to something too, because you mentioned something about change.
yes.
When did you, because I know you said you battled for like what, 10 years
10 years, 10 years.
with the weight. So when did you realize that for you and for your own personal life that change was necessary? It's like you can't get around this anymore. It's affecting your health, it's affecting your life, it's affecting how you're seeing yourself, how you're feeling about yourself. What was that point where you say, okay, this is it?
Okay, so November, right after Thanksgiving of 2020, last year, I I started having chest. I started having heart complications, where I just started having pain. Started having pain, and didn't know where it was coming from. So I was going to the hospital, and every time they would go, they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find anything. They couldn't find nothing. And I'm like, but I'm still having those issues. And I began to go back and forth. I would go one day, come out, they'll run all these tests, everything come back negative. And then one doctor told me, she said, you know what, Christine, the best thing that I can tell you to do is to change your eating habits and start exercising, even if you just do 30 minutes 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to start. And I know everybody say January they're going to start. But I said, you know what? I'm going to start in December. I said, I'm going to
Okay.
start in December. And I never forget, I started doing Facebook Lives as I was walking in my neighborhood. I was just walking.
Okay.
I forced myself and just started walking. I didn't make it 30 minutes, but I walked 28 minutes. And I did it 3 times a week. And I just started pushing myself, pushing myself, pushing myself. And I realized that every day that I would go out, it was getting easier and easier. And I said, you know what? And then I started slowly but surely feeling better. And
Mm-hmm.
then I remember when I went to my doctor appointment and my doctor said, you know what? Your numbers are still kind of out of whack. You need to push it more. And I said, well, I'm walking 3 times a week, 27 minutes, 28 minutes a day. And I said, you know what? I was driving by and I saw fat loss camp. And when I
Mm.
saw fat loss camp, I said, you know what? I think that would be able to help me. And as I began I tried to call, I didn't get no answer. Tried to call, didn't get no answer. I said, the fat loss camp can't answer me. You And I mean, I tried for a whole week, left messages, nobody called me, not one person. So then I went back another time and called, and then somebody picked up and called me, answered. And when they answered, I said, I've been trying to get y'all for 2 weeks. And she said, I don't know what happened, but today is your day. Can you meet me at such and such time? And I met her there, and ever since then, you know, that's when everything began to start changing for me.
Okay, that is awesome. And first of all, congratulations. I didn't say that
Thank you.
because you look awesome. I was looking at a picture
Thank you.
today that you put up. I
Thank
was
you.
like, wow. Now we've been on each other for what,
A
over
long time.
20 years now.
Yes,
It's been a
yes,
long time. So yeah,
yes.
you are absolutely doing it. It's awesome. So we're gonna take a break, but we're gonna come right back. So I want to thank everyone, those that are just joining me. We're joining in on Girls Night In. I have my special guest here, Christine Wilson, and we're talking about transformation on tonight. She's a life coach, an author, and a motivational speaker. I do want to invite everyone to text "Make Me Over" to 84576 to join the What's in Your Cup community. Every week, 3 times a week, I send out 3 motivational or inspirational texts for everyone. So you can join that by texting "Make Me Over" to 84576 to join the What's in Your Cup community. So we're going to go ahead and go on with our Be Ye Transformed. So, and that's very vital, the mindset. Like if your mind is not in the right place, if your mind is not renewed, the new life that you're seeking or the new place in life that you desire to have, you're not going to be able to get to it. So by you saying that you pay for the coaching, I meant the pay for the weight loss journey. You missed every day of the 6 weeks because of life circumstance. But the thing was, because your mind was made up,
Absolutely.
that you didn't allow those things to stop you and you kept going. You just went back in. So did you have to pay again? I just want to
But
know.
yeah, yes, because every 6 weeks, there's
Uh-huh.
a new challenge. There's a new challenge. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
yeah, every 6 weeks there's a new challenge, or you could do month for month. It just depends on your on what's the best for you.
Okay. And so you've already talked about some obstacles that you came upon, not really obstacle, but it did stop you, like things going on in your family, you happened to go to out of town and you couldn't make it. What other obstacles did you have to overcome? And I always like to say your obstacles will make you an overcomer.
Absolutely. I mean, I had many obstacles. I also had the obstacle of losing my father. I lost my
Hmm.
father in February the 15th. And that was devastating enough for me, even the more. And that was another obstacle that I had to push, because I said, you know what? He battled with high blood pressure. He battled with diabetes, and
Hmm.
all those things is what I'm about to battling with. And I said, you know what? I would live and not die, and I would declare the work of the Lord. And I said, God, I need you to show me the steps that I need to do so that I can overcome these obstacles. And today, I'm so glad you asked me about the obstacles because I went to the doctor today. I did blood work about 2 weeks ago. And when I went to the doctor, my doctor told me, she was like, Christine, the last time you was here, you was almost 400 pounds. And now
Mm,
you're almost 350. I'm 354. And I'm just so excited because you're looking at somebody who was I was 394 pounds. I was 394 pounds when I first started the journey, and now I'm 354. And I'm telling you, it's nothing but God's grace that I'm able to achieve these things. I had many obstacles. There was many times when I was working out because I do have some screws in my leg, and
oh,
I was feeling the pain and the pressure. And there's some exercises that I can't do because of the limitations. But I had to overcome that too. I mean, I couldn't allow that to stop me. I had to keep going. And even those times when I felt like, oh my God, this is just too much. I'm feeling the pain. I had to push. I had to overcome. Even when my own family would try to say, well, we got to do this. I said, no, I got to go to the gym first. So I had to overcome a lot of things. I had to overcome some dinner dates that I really wanted to go on, but no, you know what? I'm going to go work out. You
mhm.
know what? I got to be committed to myself, because if I'm not committed to myself, I won't be able to be committed to nobody else. Because I want to be able to live and not die. I want to declare the work of the Lord in the land of the living.
Yeah, like look, that is like you say that in every sentence, right?
Yes, I do.
And you have to,
Yes, I
right? You
do.
have to
Yes, I do.
continue to speak it over your life. And it's just awesome
Absolutely.
how you're not allowing things that are enjoyable to you, things that you would like to do, you're not allowing
Absolutely.
those things to take you off focus. So you're
Absolutely.
like really focused on what this goal is. And it's just awesome the amount you said, the amount of weight that you've lost. And to be honest, it when I looked at pictures, it seems like it's more than that.
Yeah.
When I looked at the pictures, I think maybe you posted yesterday. Yesterday you went to
Mhm.
church and you had those pictures. But is this is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. So tell me this, in your journey, and you having this issue with your weight loss, was there ever a time before you started your transformation now that you was like, I don't want to die this way, this could possibly take me out, that you was got became fearful of your own losing your own life because of the weight, or being in
Absolutely.
a position where you was disabled because of the weight?
Absolutely. Back in last year in June and July, I had some real challenges where, like I said, I kept having asthma attacks, severe asthma attack. I kept going to the hospital in and out
Mm,
because I almost felt like I was dying. I
mm,
couldn't I couldn't breathe. I did not have COVID, but I was having issues with breathing with my asthma. And I said, you know what, God? I said, I can't die like this. I said, I can't
mm,
die like this. I said, God, I need your help. And I remember one day I was in desperation and I was crying out to God. And I said, God, I said, I didn't gain this weight overnight, and I know I can't lose it overnight. I said, but God, if you give me the strength and the willpower and the endurance to push past where I am, I said, God, I will tell everybody everywhere I go my testimony on how you saved me. And just like you saved me, you can save other people, because I was dying slowly,
oh wow.
mentally, physically, in every area, even spiritually. Because I remember sometimes I would try to pray and couldn't even pray because I was
Mm,
depressed in my situation. I felt defeated. I felt like I was a failure. And all
mm,
those things played a part with me. And that's why this life coaching that I that I'm doing now was so valid in my life, because I remember saying, as I was going through all these struggles and all these things that I was going through, if I had somebody like this
oh
that would have,
yeah.
would have been able to guide me and lead me and encourage me and motivate me and give me strategies and give me principles and things of that sort to help me, I wouldn't have been in the shape that I was in. And I made a mission that everybody that God will put in my way for me to be able to coach that's stuck or frustrated or don't know where they are or don't know who they are or don't know their value or don't like themselves or love themselves. I will help them and I will share my testimonies and I will use the principles that God has given me to help them on their journey.
That's awesome. So now that you've gotten yourself in a place where you've transformed, well, first I want to ask this before I make the statement. Did you, is with the life coaching piece, was that something that you always wanted to do, or was it just birthed out of you going through your own transformation?
Actually, life coaching is something that I always wanted to do since I was 21.
Mm.
Since
Oh
I was
wow.
21. Since I was 21, because when I was in high school, I was a peer counselor. And I
Mm-hmm.
love to help people. I love to, that was something that I always loved to do. And by me being an ordained minister, there was a lot of situations that come up when people ask for advice and things of that sort. And I just wanted more. I wanted to know more strategies and principles. So that's what made me go and take the class, go back to school so that I could become a licensed life coach because I wanted to be able to do it and know what I'm doing, to know strategies and principles.
Okay, that's awesome because I thought about that because sometimes when people go through things, then a certain thing is birthed within them. And then on the other side of that, some people want to do it, but then they
Right,
may not feel equipped to do it. And I know you mentioned even when we first started speaking, how you had to get yourself together in order to
absolutely.
be able to take other people through their transformation. And people
Right,
can actually look, you got receipts on this transformation, girl. People can actually go back and see that this is where you were and
right,
now this is where you're at in your journey and how it is that you can help them also. So
absolutely.
before we go on, Christine, I want us to, since you talk about life coaching, you have an event coming up, Grace
Yes.
to Continue the Journey, and that's November 6th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Carver Ranches Daycare Auditorium. And let me see, it's located at 2201 Southwest 42nd Avenue, West Park, Florida, 33023. It's a free event for those that are interested if you're in that area. Now, if someone wants to attend and they're not in your area, would this also be online or they have to show up physically?
Yes, it will be on Facebook Live on Christine Nicole Wilson page.
Okay.
It will be on Facebook Live on Christine Nicole Wilson page at 7:30.
Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I just drop that here so they'll be able to go to your page also. So it's
Awesome.
Christine Nicole Wilson page.
Mhm.
Um, Also, if someone wants coaching from you, they can email you at believecwlifecoach@gmail.com, or you can give her a call at 954-604-5706. Now we're going to talk about your book and through the struggles, how God changed me. Was that based on the weight loss or just other things that you were going through in general?
That was based on my life. That was
Mm-hmm.
based on my life of me being born. Because when I was my whole life has been testimonies because the doctors told my mom and my dad to abort me because I would be a sick child my whole life if they conceived me.
Wow.
So that book was birthed out of my beginning of my life, and then there were some other struggles that I had along the way as I got older, and those struggles are in there as well.
Okay, so that's where the struggles came from. Okay, that's awesome. So even with your book, because okay, we can get the piece where during your birth there was issues, but what about those other issues? You don't have to lay them out here. People can go purchase your book, but even with those issues, did it stop you from writing a book? How did you feel about putting that out to everyone and being transparent about it? Was there an issue there, or you was just like ready to get it all out in the open?
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. When I first wrote my through the struggles, how God changed me. The first book that I wrote, before it was even produced, when I went to go after I finished writing, I couldn't even read it because it was wet because of the tears. As I was
Mm,
writing, it was just tears. of all the stuff that I release. And then I said, oh my God. And I realized, like, oh my God, I can't even use this. And I had to rewrite it again. You know, and what happened for me is when I was writing, I was getting healed. And
Um,
even as I read that book today, every time I read it, there's another revelation of healing that God does in me. So I know what happens to me. I know what happened to other people. I have gotten many testimonies on that book of how people come to me and tell me that, Christine, every time I read your book, God began to do a healing inside of me. Because what happened is I wasn't afraid to be transparent. I had to be
okay.
real with where I was. And
Mm-hmm.
where I was a hurtful place. Where I was a scary place. Where I was a place of uncertainty. And God had to heal me where I was.
Oh, that's powerful. That is powerful. And so to pick up your book, they can also people can reach you through your email. Is that correct? Or they can call
Yes,
you.
yes, they can pick it up through my email, or they can call me, or they can go straight on Amazon and put the book title in.
Amazon. Okay, it's on Amazon. So if you would like to pick up Christine's book, Through the Struggles, How God Changed Me, you can go to Amazon.com and purchase your copy of her book. And also when you purchase your copy and you read it, make sure you write a testimony, take a picture of it, tag her in the photo. So just get the word out. In her on Facebook, she's at Christine Nicole Wilson. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, you can follow her on Facebook there. So now we've talked about your transformation. And again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about transformation, be ye transformed. We talked about the mindset. So now after you've gone through your transformation, how is it as a life coach and also a motivational speaker, how is it that you're helping other people to go through their transformation?
I help other people by my testimony, and I
Mhm.
also have a workbook that I created
Okay.
that anybody that's going through it's Believe CW workbook. If you believe, you will achieve. And inside that workbook are 10 steps to achieve, to become an achiever. And that's one way, that's one principle that I use. And then sometimes people come to me and they have specified things that they want to target, and then we work towards that. But it depends on where you at. My whole purpose with my life coaching is transformation, and that's why I'm laughing, because this whole thing, that's my life. This is the life that
Mhm.
I'm living. It's transformation. One thing about me is I'm my biggest cheerleader. I'm my own biggest cheerleader, and I love to push myself. And just like I push myself, I also push others. People that's stuck, people that's at a crossroad in their life, and they're right at the break of a breakthrough, but they don't know how to get there. I have strategies on how to get to the other side. I have strategies on, if you fall down, not to stay down, but get up. So there's
Okay.
different strategies and different things that I use depending on the situation.
Okay. And of course you deal with the mindset too.
Absolutely.
Like the mindset and having someone to like renew their mind. So
That's the first step.
I'm not going to ask you to give us a coaching strategy, but when someone comes to you and they need a breakthrough, they're at the breakthrough and they don't know what to do to get to the other side, or what it is that they have going on in their life. What's one of the things that you tell them or tell that person on how to go ahead and get the breakthrough that they're seeking after?
So the very first thing that we do is we pray. We
Mm-hmm.
pray, and after we pray, then the next thing that I go through is I go through step one, which is identifying where you at. And
Okay.
identifying where you at is, do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you appreciate where you are right now? And if you don't appreciate where you are right now, how can you change it?
Okay. Okay. So that's awesome. And you brought up the point, do you like yourself? That's the question you're going to ask. And you also mentioned earlier, going through your transformation, loving yourself and self-love. So
Absolutely.
talk about how important it is to have self-love to carry you through your your own transformation in anything. It could be weight loss or anything that someone may be dealing with. They need to be transformed in that area. How important is it that we have self-love?
It is very important because when you don't love yourself, it makes it so you start you start accepting
Mm,
anything. You,
mm,
you you start accepting anything. And for me, when I did not love myself, not even love myself, but when I didn't even like myself, I mean, I was allowing um, any and everything I was getting entangled in, I was getting involved in, because I didn't respect myself. I didn't like myself. So now that I'm embracing the loving of myself, I'm very careful with what I allow to come inside of me, no matter what, you know. And you learn to appreciate who you are. You learn
mm.
to love where you are. You learn to accept where you are. And those are the things that is so important when you're loving yourself. Because remember, it's just like when you're in love with a family member, when you love your family, you're going to do any and everything to make sure that your family stay in good standards. Why? Because
Mhm.
you love them. That's the same thing you have to be with yourself. You have to make sure that any and everything concerning you is the most important thing. And once you get that point and that revelation, then everything else will continue to flow.
Yeah. And when you were speaking about that too, what came to mind, I think it was Maya Angelou that said you teach people how to treat you.
Absolutely.
And when you don't love yourself, people can treat you poorly and you accept it. And some people accept no matter how someone treats them because they're looking for the love, but they're looking for it outside of themselves. So
Absolutely.
I just, yeah, so thank you for speaking to that in our transformation, because the reason you transform your life and the reason you did the things that you need to do is like you keep saying, you wanted to live, you didn't want to die. So that shows forth the love that you have for yourself, because sometimes
Absolutely.
we can see people in situations either be dealing with either it's with their weight or just their health in general, bad relationships, um, hang around the wrong people, addictions, that they allow themselves to somehow get into because there's a lack of self-love. People just accept anything because
Absolutely.
they don't have the love for themselves. So I just want to thank you for speaking to that, because we do have to love ourselves beyond, even more so than we love other people. And
Absolutely.
then we can go back to the Bible, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So when we're
Absolutely.
speaking about that, loving your neighbor as you love yourself. So when you was in a place where you didn't love yourself, you didn't feel good about yourself, how was your relationship with other people?
And this is the most craziest part, because everybody that knows me know that I'm a very humble person and know that I'm a very loving person. And even when I didn't love myself, I still loved everybody else. I still
Mhm.
one of the biggest issues for me is I was loving people more than I was loving myself. I
Oh
was
wow.
doing for people more than I was doing for myself. I was caring for people more than I was caring for myself. And I believe I just did a post on Facebook a couple of days ago. It's change didn't happen for me until I stopped allowing um, people pleasing and started changing Christine.
Wow, that's awesome. And I can attest, we've been on each other for some years. She's never been mean to me.
Um,
You really are just what you say. You was
yeah,
always humble, you always treated people
absolutely,
well.
absolutely,
And here's the thing, at least I didn't, because sometimes we see people, but we don't see people. Like, I would have never known these things were going on with you and in your
absolutely,
life, is according to how you treated other people, how you showed up and you were nice and caring and inviting. But then there's always something, well, not always, because everybody don't are not dealing with issues, but when we see people, we have to really see the person. Like, there's something else going on behind. And then, you know what? Sometimes people, you not saying that this is what you did, but sometimes people hide their issues by being nice to other people, by being pleasant to other people, by doing all these things, and the people pleasing, they're hiding their issues and they don't want to deal with their issues. So did you not so much as you was hiding, but were there times you just did not want to deal with the issues that you know that were going on the inside of you that kind
Absolutely.
of pushed you further deeper into the hole?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's not even a point of hiding it, but sometimes you don't even know how to deal with it. So
Okay.
you know, because you become so numb to it, because
Mm-hmm.
it done became your way of living. So it's like the issue didn't even exist as an issue no more. It was my normal.
Wow.
It was my normal, and that's why for me it was so important about me really getting transformed in my mind, because I'm telling you, there was sometimes when I would be by myself, I would smile and I'd be at work all day and be around people, and I was the happiest thing. And when I was at home, I wouldn't say one or two things to nobody. I would lock myself in the room, and this went on for a while, and until one day I began to just cry out and say, God, I need your help, because I didn't
Mm.
know what to do. I
Right.
really thought I really lost myself. I lost my identity inside of
Mhm.
myself, and I became numb to it. Numb. I was hiding. I was hiding my hurt. I was hiding my insecurities. I was hiding my failures. I was hiding my doubt. I was hiding so many things. And I put all the blame on my situation. And in reality, that wasn't the case.
Wow. That is awesome. So if you're just joining us, thank you for joining the Girls Night In podcast. I'm here with my special guest, Christine Wilson. She's a life coach, author, and a motivational speaker. And this evening we're talking about transformation. Now there are two things you said. One was identity, and so I want to talk about that when you say you lost your identity. So when in the process of you going through your transformation, did you actually see the true you, the you that who God created you to be? When did you start seeing that come forth?
When I began to yield and say,
Mm-hmm.
God, I can't take this no more. You know, God, I don't know what it is that you have for me, but God, I'm tired of going through this struggle. And God
Mm-hmm.
said, I called you to minister. And I never forget when I yield. And I remember calling my pastor on the phone crying. And I said, God keep telling me that I need to come to you and talk to you. And as me and him began to talk, he began to say, you know, he began to minister to me where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, that's when I realized that I was broken.
Mm.
I was broken, and I was broken into so many pieces. And I didn't even think that I would be able to be back whole again, because the pieces were so small.
Wow.
And some of the things, even as I think about it now, some of the things were so definite, that were so significant and so meaningful to me. You know, to be able to experience rejection, to be able to be bullied, picked
Mm.
on, talked about, all those things I had to deal with.
Wow. That's a
All
lot.
of those things.
That's a lot. So, are you like, how long was that process when you say, okay, I'm God, I'm going to yield to you? These things that they're ugly, they don't feel good. I'm going to yield, and I just want to get through this part of this to this healing. How long did that? How long was that process for you?
It probably was, I want to say probably about 6 or 7 months going through the process of that particular process, going to the transformation of me accepting my call,
Mm-hmm.
and then getting training in my call of where I was. So about 6 to 7 months, and then after that, I want to say that once I really understood where I was in my mind, where I was in my heart, where I was in my life, then that's when I began to start writing a book, and
Oh,
everything started playing out. You know, everything started coming even more to the light.
Okay. And I wanted to talk about the length of the process too, because sometimes we just want it over and done with. And sometimes when people start on their journey of transformation, we expect that it's going to happen overnight. But what we have to realize, what got me here happened over time.
over
So
time.
it's going to take the time, and it's going to take the patience for us to get to the other side, or to get to the breakthrough, or to get to the place like you was talking about, where your true identity is uncovered. So what type of advice would you give to someone that's, they want to go through a transformation, or they're in a transformation, like you said, in that process, and being patient with that process? What type of advice would you give that person to continue to see the light of day, so to speak?
The advice that I would give to anybody that's in that situation is trust the process and know that it's necessary. And while you're in the process, continue to be open and real with where you are.
Mm.
And for me, in my process, I had to do a lot of praying, a lot of reading scriptures, because what happened is the more I began to read, that there was people that was in the Bible that went through same some of the same type of situations that I was going through, and they made it over. It gave me hope, it gave me strength, and it gave me courage. So I would encourage you to study to show yourself approved, pray until something happens, and continue to trust and believe, and know that your process, this too shall pass, and it is necessary.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of those that are joining me, my replay viewers, those that are listening to this by way of podcast. I want to thank you to for watching us here tonight on the Girls Night In, where you are here to gain insight that will inspire you, inform you, innovate you, and increase you. And I'm quite sure from listening to Christine's story and testimony, you've gotten all that inspiration. You've been informed. You can be increased by just by the words that you're saying. It's just so motivational and so inspirational. And could you say again, you was almost at 400, and you lost like what, over 50 pounds now?
Right? When I first started, I was at three. I want to say like 394,
Hmm.
395, something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And
that's
then and
powerful.
then now I'm 354.
354. That is powerful. Thank you, Mama McCory, for joining us on tonight. Yeah, this is a awesome, powerful conversation. Thank you so much, Christine. But before we go, I just want to put some more of your information back out. Again, Christine is a life coach, an author, and a motivational speaker. If you would like to contact her, you can do that by way of email at believecwlife coach@gmail.com, or you can call her at 954-604-5706. She has an upcoming event happening on November the 6th, Grace to Continue the Journey. November the 6th, again at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The physical location is Carver Ranches Daycare Auditorium, and that is located at 2201 Southwest 42nd Avenue, West Park, Florida, if you're able to attend physically on the live event. However, it will be also on Facebook. Is that correct, Christine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and you can follow her on Facebook at Christine Nicole Wilson. You can follow her there, and I'm going to make a note to watch, to join in on to continue the Grace to Continue the Journey. That is so awesome. So I'm going to let you have the final word. Is there anything, if one thing you can leave us with tonight, just to Grace to continue our journey, what would that be?
Okay. Before I go there, there
Hmm.
was a book that I released last year at the end of the year called Not Progressing. My Issues Are Leaking.
Okay.
And not progressing, my issues are leaking. And this is what I will leave with you. Every, for Grace to continue this journey, we have to be able to keep the faith and know that it is necessary. Everything that God allowed for us to go through and for us to experience, it was necessary for our next walk, for our next step. for our next level. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to encourage somebody on tonight that may be at that crossroad of, I know that I need grace to continue this journey, but I'm feeling tired. I'm overwhelmed, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to make it. Yes, I heard your transformation and the things that happened to you, but I don't know if there's hope in my situation. And I want to encourage you on tonight that there is hope, and God will see you through. Keep the faith and know that God will keep you. God will strengthen you. He will heal you where you are. He will renew your mind. He will give you everything you need for what you're up against and what you're faced with. And know that you are worth it. You are needed. You are special. And everything about your life is amazing. You are amazing. You rock, and you will make it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Christine, for being here tonight. Thank you, all those that joined me on tonight for Girls Night in Podcast. Don't forget to text Make Me Over to 84576 to join the What's in Your Cup community. Within that What's in Your Cup community, I send out a text every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a motivational, inspirational, something to pick you up, something to put in your cup, to carry you along your journey. So don't forget to text Make Me Over to 84576 to receive those text messages on a weekly basis. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining me. A special thanks to our special guest, Christine Wilson. Like, she's a life coach, author, and a motivational speaker. Please go follow her on Facebook at Christine Nicole Wilson on Facebook. Follow her, stay in touch. If you need her services, you can email, or I'm quite sure she don't mind you sending her an inbox or a DM to get in contact with her. So again, I want to thank you all for joining us on tonight. We'll be back on next week, either Monday or Tuesday, depends on my guest. So until the next time, everyone, goodbye and God bless. Good
God
night,
bless.
everyone.